Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast Channels 6 and 22. Channel 6 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 8, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report, with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.
Zoom. Welcome to this week's edition of the Pairpoint Park Stakeholders Advisory Committee for Thursday, October 17, 2024. Introductions very quickly. Steve Jones.
Amanda Kelly.
Ann Hohenberger.
Speak into the microphones, please. Yeah.
Keith Whitehouse.
Judy Rowan.
Dave Short.
Jen Martell.
Mary Teagle.
And also in the room we have, just introduce yourself.
Dave Sharples, Town Planner.
Yep.
Ego Papacosta, Select Board Rep.
And we have someone from the public.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
Bill Campbell's also here.
Bill Campbell.
Hi, Bill.
Fine.
Thank you. Joining by Zoom and acting as an alternate. We are going to finish in 1 hour.
Okay.
That's it. Public comment? Hearing none. Let's move to the minutes. Draft minutes, everyone has a copy or was emailed a copy and it was posted. Are there any concerns about the minutes?
I move that they be accepted as presented.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Nah.
I don't know if I'm voting, Steve.
No, you're not voting. You're not voting. But thank you. Okay, very good. Next on the agenda, Amanda.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we pull up the?
Yes. It's over here.
Double click. Yep. That's fine.
Yeah, is that good?
Actually, you just give me the mouse.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
you've got control. There you go.
Oh,
Yeah.
if it likes that. All right, so based on the feedback from last 2 meetings ago, I made a couple edits to this. The first few pages are exactly the same. I slightly cleaned this up just based on some things that were a little bit funky when we were talking about it, but all the content is the same. It's just in slightly different order. And the one thing that we mostly talked about was what would it look like if we were to do a private funding model. So I talked a lot about the budget cycle and like how we would fit into that if we were going for public dollars, if we were going for private dollars, and it seems like there's a lot of interest in what is the fastest it could be accomplished. So I did a kind of a workup of the absolute fastest it could go. Obviously, if any step along this didn't come out the way we plan it, it's going to take longer. But this is the fastest it could come out with kind of a private funding avenue for working on everything we need to do. I also edited it since the last time I talked about this was in September, and we're going into November to start the public input proposals, which I will be making a motion on as soon as I finish discussing the edits. But basically, November to December, we would have 2 months now to do the first phase of public input, which is kind of the open-ended qualitative piece, the charrettes led by Anne and Dev, the suggestion boxes, the single box open-ended Google form that Jen had mentioned, which I made and is ready as a QR code on the suggestion box, as well as we can send it out as a link anywhere else we want. So we would give just 2 months to the open-ended, super, just any idea, throw it at the wall piece. And then when we got to January, we could revise that into a quantitative survey where you're kind of voting on the top favorites that come out from the qualitative piece. During all this, which I think is another part of the agenda tonight, is we would need to be simultaneously forming and working on the fundraising subcommittee. So we have the public input subcommittee that's working on this piece. Jed is kind of the architectural subcommittee along with, Keith and Steve so far, and that can change and adapt. But we're going to need to have a fundraising subcommittee working on whether that be grants or private donations or in-kind donations. All of that piece needs to be happening ASAP. So that I didn't put any specifics for what those people would be doing because I haven't, it hasn't been formed yet. But you can see that their committee would need to continue doing work right alongside the work of the public input. In March, we would be ready to show you the quantitative survey results. In April, we would be, as a full committee, finalizing the final ask list for the architect/architectural subcommittee. Let them some time to work on the concepts that they want to present, and then find, form an RFP or whatever they want to do to go out for those construction documents. Because Jen is going to help us a certain amount of the way pro bono, but we are going to need to hire somebody in the end to actually form the construction documents, which is a good reminder to us that we don't have to do that. Yay! Someone's going to get paid. So as a committee, we don't have to worry about every nut and screw and bolt and bolt. Board, that's a new one. Board and bolt. So that person will be hired and will do a wonderful job following code and all that jazz. So luckily, we don't have to do that. Neither does the architectural subcommittee. We are going to pay someone at some point to make a solid plan. We don't have to make the full plan in this room. So there's one other thing I wanted to make sure I mentioned. Oh, as far as our input, we are part of the public. So right away, as soon as we put out these suggestion boxes, as soon as we put out this Google form, I want all of you to input your input right into that Google form so that we are equal and on par with the rest of the public. All those results will be coalesced and gone through, I can't think of the verb, really well, and we'll come up with the final themes, but we're not going to be in here on some other level other than the public. So all of your inputs, it's a giant open Google form. You have as many words as you want. Throw them in there. I'll make sure they all get nicely grouped into categories and themes, and then we can work as a group to make sure we finalize what goes out for the quantitative properly, but that's how we're going to have our input. We're part of the public. I think that covers everything.
Excellent. Okay.
I wasn't here when you presented 2 meetings ago, and if I had been, I would have made this suggestion. May 25 architect, well, there are 2 suggestions, and I'll do the other one first. I would like to see the architect or an architect look at the Google survey to see if the questions are worded properly for an architect to work with. We always go back to the maxim, what they tell us has to tell us how big, what shape, where. And so those questions, I think, would be improved if an architect had a look at them. So that's a suggestion for process. And this other one is that I would like to see the concept drawings presented to our advisory committee before they go to the select board.
Okay, so this is not something that I'm presenting to say this is what's happening.
Okay.
This is my best guess of the steps that we will need to possibly do as a group. This is made up.
So it's not complete or
it's not complete
okay,
or
perfect.
by any means something we're sticking to.
Okay,
It's
thank you.
just a general overview of what the best we could possibly do is, and it'll probably all get changed.
Modified.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anne, did you have a comment or a question?
No.
Okay. Amanda, did you want to make a motion?
Yes. So then I move that we approve the public input plan as revised. That's not the timeline, it's the plan for public input, which is, everything way up above this. This is the plan for public input. We need to involve people. We need to, do these,
Consult and engage.
it won't let me highlight, but pretty much everything that's in here. We need to ask people what they want through charrettes, through person on the street interviews, through surveys, right, in the next few months. That's what the public input plan is. So I move that we approve the public input plan, give authority to the subcommittee and those who additionally volunteer to implement the strategies outlined, and work with the town officials on our behalf as needed.
I'll second.
Whoa, we got lots of seconds. Dave, I think you heard, is it Mary and,
Oh, Jen.
That was me.
oh, I'm
Jen.
sorry, Jen?
But I-
Jen and.
I defer to your second if you.
And
So who is it?
Anne.
Anne, okay. Okay, discussion?
Question?
Yes?
I'm hoping that the two suggestions I made are considered. Having done lots of charrettes and surveys. And
The hope is that not just Dev and Ann are going to be the ones to lead charrettes. So if you would like to lead a charrette, Dev would be really appreciative of
it
that.
goes back to the first one, that the Google Forms survey be reviewed by an architect. Some of the wording.
I don't feel like that's under my
Okay.
purview,
Yeah.
but sure. I mean, it's good for the committee
And
to hear.
I don't think it's part of her motion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So her motion was above that, and the involve, engage, and what's the third?
Just the general plan,
Yes,
yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Everything that we need to do to get
Consult.
started.
Yes, okay.
Because it's been 6 weeks, we haven't gotten started even with the suggestion box yet.
So any other comments? Okay.
Just that this is an impressive piece of work. You really thought through all the steps.
Thank you,
that,
Judy.
uh,
Wow. I had a lot of help from Ann and Deb. We all sat
Yes.
together. This is our baby, right, Ann?
Right.
We had a nice time at the library, so thank you.
Yes, there's a large thank you that needs to go with this, but that's a separate item. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. The motion passes.
Beautiful. Thank you all.
All right.
Thank you.
Really, thank you.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see what people want.
Amanda, yeah, message from the chair. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, enormous amount of work. All right. So, committee and culture, this is a quick statement. Successful committees, especially advisory committees, there's a triad, as most of you who have done these committees before know better than I do. There's a triad of town officials, elected town officials, and town staff, and the committee that collaborate. We have great members of this committee, lots of intellectual capital, and we have a great elected representative, and we have a great staff person. So I look forward to the collaboration very much. I think that we can collaborate very well. The second thing was what makes a successful committee? The first thing is respect. That means primarily for me, time management, doesn't it? So I'm trying to respect everyone and do time management. But yes, let's get to work. Everyone all
Indeed.
set? Judy gives her nod. Okay. All right. Jen, would you like to take this mouse?
Sure.
And I think you can.
I don't know
advance. I
where,
think you
is it
advance.
just on this?
Yeah.
Oh, look at this.
That's yeah,
Nope, I
your
forgot about
yeah, your
that.
suggestion back.
Do you want to
Yeah.
talk about this or?
I think everybody saw it in the,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
just the QR code and the language for the suggestion box with the picture so that people know what they're,
And this is live now, you said?
yes.
Okay.
Well, yeah, no one's seen it, but it is working. So that's just to print it. Thank you.
So, yes, I wasn't here at the last meeting, but I did watch it, and I heard everyone's really great feedback about the temporary intervention proposal that I worked with Steve and Keith to put together, and it has been updated slightly from what you saw last week. I think we just kind of elaborated a little bit to clarify some things about earthwork, about the goals, but generally it's the same. And then also, I think responding to, I think Dev's really important comment that sometimes people look at a drawing or like a plan drawing like this, which I know is like really hard to read because it's small and people can't always wrap their heads around it. It might be nice to have some visuals. So we did add a visualization of essentially what we're calling option 2, I believe.
This is option 3.
Correct me.
Option
Well,
3.
this is 2 and 3
2 and 3,
together,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
2 being, and it took me a while to figure this out, 2 being the removal of the wooden fence and replacement with a lower chain link fence, and 3 being the construction of an ADA accessible ramp going down. Essentially, I'll just walk you through this a little bit. There's a small flat landing as you come off the sidewalk, and then an 8.3% slope that's about 25 feet long with handrails, which is wheelchair accessible. 5-foot-long flat landing, which is required by code. Another 25-foot-long 8.3% ramp, and then a wooden platform overlook that's flat toward the bottom. And there's railings. There are, you can't really, it's hard to see here, but, a little bit of a curb at the bottom for wheelchair. But all that, final design, if this gets approved by the select board, it will go through a final design process. And this is just an example of similar construction. Obviously, it's not going to look exactly like this, but I couldn't find the exact right thing on Google, so that's where we're at. And this is option 2, right? The
Yeah,
replacement
this is option 2.
fence. Okay.
Yeah.
And, I feel like this is ready to go to the select board. I think that, I went back and watched a lot of meetings this past week and reminded myself of the discussion that's happened so far about this park. But I feel like the select board formed this committee and put us in charge of public outreach and providing an opinion on what should happen. And I think seems like the majority of us agree that allowing people to walk on the site and actually get out to the water and see what a gem it is will improve the quality and potentially the quantity of public input that we receive, and will result in a better design than we would get if the park is not opened up. And I would like to make that case to the select board and hear what they have to say. If they don't agree, then we'll move on.
Perfectly said.
Okay.
Thanks.
Indeed.
Dave, did you want to speak?
Well, I think as a backup to that, because it has to happen anyways, is if the select board were to not agree with this, at a minimum, put up the fence. I don't think we should attempt to build the walkway and deck this fall anyhow. I think we're just trying to squeeze too much in. I think it would be a spring project. So if the black fence were put in with an allowance made to later remove a section to provide access for the ramp, in the meantime, while the committee is working with the public engagement, the charrettes and all that sort of thing, it would still be possible to offer chaperoned access to the site, like maybe schedule a couple Saturdays where it's open for 4 or 5 hours and some presentations could be made to passersby. So we're not really opening the parcel up, but it just gives you another venue and then I think that would also alleviate some of the liability concerns, because it basically would be supervised, by whoever happened to be there that day. And then this other stuff could continue moving forward.
That's a great point.
I think it helps reinforce the design work taking place. It helps reinforce what you're trying to do from the communication standpoint. And at least gives us some some tangible progress. It's not everything we want yet, but it also doesn't preclude us from going further later. But, with the weather coming up, I think we'd be crazy to try to build this all out this fall. So, that's my opinion.
Okay. Any comments?
I have one, of course. I personally am in favor of option 2, and I would like to have the addition of a pullout, like a viewpoint that we see on highways that's large enough to accommodate a bench and alongside it a wheelchair spot. Because people are going to, we hope, are going to stop and look over the fence or through the fence, and it gets them out of the way of the sidewalk. And I'm also thinking of winter when the snow, I can't remember exactly where the snow gets bermed up on this particular leg of the sidewalk. But I would like to see some kind of inset in the neighborhood of 7 feet deep by 7 feet wide, or just one fence section where it goes in and then the fence is there. So it would look like this. Here's the fence, and there's the thing I'm proposing, and then it would go back out again.
So,
I think it
just
would.
clarification, are you talking about this as a backstop plan or?
Yeah, I like what Dave said, we may have just a fence, depends on what the select board says.
Well, either way, option 2 or option 3, there is going to be a fence.
Right, so I'm just saying the fence as presented with an inset into the park, like I said, 5 to 7 feet, enough to accommodate a bench and a wheelchair on the side. And the rationale is that we do want people to look at it. And I think there's a need for a bench in that part of town. There are a lot of people who shop who need to sit down, or maybe someone they're shopping with isn't interested in shopping, they just want to sit. I think it would promote our public input to have such an insert, and I don't think it would require an engineer, and I don't think it would be costly to build. So that's my offering.
Okay. Judy?
Are we going to hear from Dave? I'm very interested in what the specific objections were to Plan 3 from the department heads. Are they viewing this as an attractive nuisance, or what was the objection?
We could, and let's parse this. Okay. We have, in essence, 2 proposals, and let me comment on this proposal, which is new, and this proposal, which is old, and was made, and was declined, as I understand it.
No, it just wasn't considered. I mean, it was sort of blew by.
No, I think it was declined.
Okay.
I think it was declined. That's
Yeah.
that's this one. So I mean, yes, I like the idea if nothing else, but it's already been declined. I think it's not an option for us. Yeah. Now, your question, Dave, Judy asked a question. Yeah.
Yeah, I could, go ask them and get that information. I just had an informal discussion with them. I told them, part of it's like, we see 60, 70 CIP items, that are in our CIP that, need to be done, all priority projects. And kind of working for government is just continually shifting priorities and trying to get priorities done, and finding the money to do them. And this didn't seem, high on the priority to open it temporarily and then just come right back and open it for permanently. It didn't seem to make sense to anyone.
Okay.
But if there's no town money being spent, how is that a problem to have
I don't know. I didn't ask them that. I didn't ask them that. I mean,
Safety issue.
no, I don't think it was a safety issue. I think you can build it so it would be safe and to be code. I mean, if you don't run a compactor, then it could start to twist and warp, but, it's okay. It'll be usable, There's some reasons, like I look at this as that project is a 15 or 20-year expected lifespan, if you look at that, what you're building. And you're gonna take it out in a year or two, from a sustainability, resource use standpoint, I don't know, it's gonna end up in a landfill. There's a lot of reasons that, just keep coming that we no one really thought it was a good idea. So, we just wanted to get, I think everyone was in opinion to get the final project done, get it designed, and get it in the queue and get it built.
Well, at some point, some of this project, even though I'm very optimistic about financial and volunteer contributions, part of this project is going to have to be funded by tax dollars. Obviously, our goal is to keep that as low as possible, but at some point in time, it's going to have to go on the CIP. Whatever that figure is going to be, we don't know. But that's part of the exploration process that we're going through right now, is to maybe try to start getting a handle on, what are the contributions we can expect from, associates and the public and all that sort of thing.
Dave, if I could ask a question? If there, if we did option 3, did you get a sense from the heads of department whether that much opening of the park would delay a CIP request?
Oh, I didn't ask him that.
Okay.
I mean, I developed the CIP, like I'm the kind of the first point of contact where I put the CIP items together and solicit the items from the department heads, and then the town manager, the assistant town manager, the finance director, we all meet and we kind of look at it and cull it out and say, okay, that prioritizing, if you will, that's constantly being done. What really needs to be done? What's the overall budget like? Big picture type stuff. I thought I might be the one. Department head has to put a CIP item in. I would probably, as support of this committee, I'd probably be the one putting this in. And if there was a 15, 20-year structure already down there and safe, then I don't know if I could put it in for 26, 27. I'd probably put it, I guess,
So it might delay.
It wouldn't be a priority, I don't think, at that point. I mean, we overlast our resources, we build a building and, 20 years after its lifespan, then we, do something to it. That's kind of, with the resources and priorities that we have. So, I'd be hard pressed to put it in there. I mean,
okay. Thank you,
Can I
by the way.
and promote it for,
Yes,
in a year or two.
yeah,
But if you don't have anything, it seems more of a priority. And, okay, it's an old dilapidated fence, or maybe not even if it's a, chain link fence. I mean, it's something to do with it. The select board created a committee, and I think, even though they said the back of the line, I mean, they created the committee and to get a final design, I would work and support to get this built and get this on the warrant, when they would, when they'd allow it. I mean, I'd support it and try to get it on there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
In those sooner years.
Yeah, I would. I mean, I can't tell you where it would go.
Yep,
But that was
certainly,
that was my vision. I mean, the committee and, work through the process and get a final design, get some numbers, get some donation together and then propose it and then see where it goes. It's got to go through a process a lot larger than me, the town manager, the finance director first, then the budget review committee, and then the select board, and then ultimately the voters. But, I wouldn't wait 6 years for this committee to, say, okay, well, we got a final design and I'm going to, throw it in. I wouldn't do that.
Dave, do you want to make a motion?
Steve?
Yes?
Steve?
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Yes, it's Bill.
Sorry.
Bill.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
me.
sorry.
I think we need to get something started in some way. I like the proposal that's option 3, I guess, but
Whoops.
don't think it's going to happen. I like Dave's idea of putting up a fence anyway. And actually, Mary's idea of having a little bit of a bump out with one of our famous benches might be a good start, at least to say we're doing something, rather than try and wait till spring to build something. I don't know, that's just my thought. Was I on?
Yes, you were, and thank
Yeah,
you.
that's a good one, Bill.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so, Dave, would we be able to add a bump out with a bench if I put in a bench?
I mean, I think that would be something that I would leave to the select board, but I did have that on a plan. I have a plan for that.
Yeah, we had a kind of a more elaborate one back.
Yeah, it was like 16 by 10.
Yeah, but something of what Mary said, just take it out and, 7, is that something that we can do, or is that just adding a wrench to the system here?
I don't think so. It's a heck of a lot less, it's not a 15, 20-year structure.
Right.
It seems pretty simple. So, I could run it up, I could
Run it up the
discuss
flagpole.
running up the flagpole. I could-
See if it flies.
Yeah, and just kind of, I'd like to know what the surface would be and so forth, because it's got to, it would need to be a hard surface of some kind. But if we made it flat,
Yeah, even with the sidewalk?
yeah, even with the sidewalk, we could probably get away with a stone dust or something, so, it wouldn't erode because it's flat,
Yeah,
So-
okay.
I wouldn't have a problem looking into that, absolutely, because that's not a big deal, 7 by 7 or 8, might be a little bit more than that, but, because our benches I think are 5.
So you had said the town would purchase the fence if we approve motion 2? And
Well, I have money in my budget that I
To-
could, it's
to
like,
do
what, a
that?
couple, like $800 or something total,
Okay.
I think I ballparked that
Yeah,
at.
you
Or
actually,
Parks and Rec could
So
do
you
that.
think that could happen, what Mary had said there, all that can happen this year?
I don't see why not.
Okay, so if we were to do
As long
that.
as I got you and others.
Yeah, small bump out, and we got a place to put a bench, yeah, I'd be certainly willing to help. Okay,
I don't know the parameters of that, of what approvals we need and how far we need to go. I know building that, ramp all the way down, we'd need to go to the select board. We'd need to ask them that. 'Cause we
Right.
accept donations and all that. But something this minor, I will look into it tomorrow, and I will email the committee on what the results of that are. But I'll definitely try to get it done for you.
so not making a motion here, but what does everybody sort of think of that idea?
Yes.
Sounds great. I'm fine with all of them. I think that they all have merits. I think there's a lot of merit to this plan. I think it solves a lot of the cons while keeping a lot of the pros. That's great.
And Jen, what do you think?
Similar to Dave, I would want to know what the details are. What is the hard surface? How is that surface retained? You can kind of see in this picture, there's pretty quick drop off. So if that's going out 6 feet, you might have a foot to meet existing grade. How are you retaining a foot of stone dust?
There's some
And then
granite
we're
we can all
installing new
dump.
fence posts, so
Yeah.
there's additional costs there. I mean, it's not, I feel like now we're proposing an option 4, which
Yeah.
is not designed or considered, and I wouldn't feel comfortable voting on it tonight. And I'm concerned that it would, I personally wouldn't feel comfortable voting on it or voting positively on it, and I feel like it's, again, going to delay this process. But
Yeah, I agree in concept with Jen. We know that this is a component of the overall proposal for option 3. Whether or not option 3 happens will probably be up to the select board and also further discussion with us. But let's not muddy the waters with trying to put in bump outs and things like that, even though I understand why you're suggesting it. Let's just, we're muddying the water. Let's just put the fence up, get it done. Show a little bit of progress.
Would you still want your hands-on tour type, greeting people on site?
Yeah, but I mean, that's something, as you're developing your programming,
Yeah.
you can know that's an option to do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if Amanda thinks that,
I like it.
or you also, I'm sorry, you're part of the group, if you two think that that's a reasonable thing to do, then absolutely. But,
I like it.
yeah. let's
Keith,
get-
what do you think of
let's-
that?
Let's see some progress.
Well, I think if you open both gates, you have 10-foot opening. And if you're in there and, and the other fence is down and there's a chain link fence there, hey, come in, and stand there. I think you could show a lot of people on a nice Saturday. The weather was good.
Would you be okay with that as the
Oh, yeah.
level of?
Yeah, I'd
opening?
help. I'd be down there to
Okay.
tour.
I like
So
it.
then can I
guide.
make a motion that we do that?
Yeah,
Yeah, be
yeah.
in
I
support.
think to Dave's point, some progress would be good,
Okay.
Then
I move that we vote, I wish I had written this down, that we ask the select board to authorize option 2 with the replaced fence across the whole way and the opportunity to still use the gate on the left, and TBD on how we can get people in or not, but to go with option 2.
I don't think you need to include the select, I can just do that.
Okay.
With,
All right, then we authorize Dave
Yeah.
So, okay,
to enact
Or
option 2.
recommend.
We recommend Dave to,
we recommend, okay, to restate this for the,
yep, please.
yeah, for the person who's got to write the minutes.
Yep, Dave, go ahead.
So let's just state the motion first.
yes.
Yeah,
and-
okay.
yeah.
We recommend that Dave Sharples implement option 2.
Beautiful. Gorgeous.
With what kind of fence?
So option 2,
It was a,
4-foot, black, vinyl, chain link.
yeah,
Chain link?
yeah,
Yeah, vinyl coated.
yeah,
it's a vinyl.
yep. And option 2 also includes shoring up one post and leaves the gate.
Yeah, we'll look at that,
Yeah.
yeah. How we're gonna shore that up, I don't know, but we're gonna, got a
Second.
couple options.
Just a second.
We'll take care of it.
So there's a second discussion.
Yes, I think we should put the language in there that the fence goes up along the street with the modification of adding an extra post with an eye towards being able to put in a gate in the future if option 3 is ever adopted. Because this, option 3 is kind of a hybrid of option 2 and the viewing platform.
Option 3 didn't include the fence, but yes, in concept, yes, it's a hybrid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we can, and Dave knows what I'm talking about, just make it so that it would be a simple matter to open that fence up if we decide that we want to do that.
Do you think a post needs to be added, or could we?
I mean, you can always do it later, too. It's
Yeah, I was
it's
just thinking like, you could do it as part of option 3.
Yeah,
So it doesn't need to be done
Yeah.
now.
No.
Like, that would just be an added cost that might
So-
never be
Yeah.
necessary.
So the motion on the floor.
so I'm gonna withdraw everything I just said.
The motion on the
Thank you,
floor.
I
Dave.
have a point.
Yes.
Just for clarity, the black fence in the picture is showing up to, give or take, 10 feet from the building to the left.
That's the
That would be
gate.
Cornicello. That's the gate.
The gate's
Okay,
staying.
so in their easement, and not their easement, their right, or whatever nomenclature is proper, is less than the width of that fence. I think it's more like 8 or 10 feet.
It's 6 feet and.
Okay, and that's greater,
Then I think you have another 6.
Yeah.
okay, so whatever it is. As a point of pride, I would like to see a gate replacing that shabby wood, a gate that's similar to the fencing material that is under consideration. Replace
I
that.
think in talking to Dave, that the idea was we were going to repair and paint that piece to make it look a little nicer?
Yeah, well, part of it is on, I'm not sure it's on our property, that
Right,
left-hand
that's.
side, so
So we're not going to
we
leave it
can't-
looking shabby,
Yeah.
I guess.
we
But-
we don't own half of it.
It reminds me of Robert Frost mending fences. Maybe it's an opportunity to extend a hand to the property owner and the managers of the.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
we'll
we
fix
could-
it and make it nicer, yeah.
And
We have,
maybe
just wouldn't
collaborate
wanna
on
commit to
a nice
that.
gate.
Yeah.
Because I can't, yeah.
Yeah.
I can. We can
Thanks.
fix that, yeah. Okay.
So there's a motion on the floor that we recommend to authorize Dave Sharples to implement option 2.
And second, I don't know. if
Yep.
you have a second.
And that was seconded.
Oh,
Yes,
well.
yes. With no further discussion that I hear or see, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. So moved.
We did it.
All right.
See you tomorrow morning, Dave?
Okay.
No, I'm kidding.
I
I'm
think
kidding.
townspeople will be pleased to see some action there.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think it'll draw a lot of attention to our input too.
Agreed.
Be great.
Agreed. We have extra time. Yes.
That doesn't mean we have to use it.
No.
No.
But I
We have
have a question. I have a question.
Subcommittee here.
I have a question. Yes, yes. That was a joke. People are touchy. But I do have a question about the last item on the agenda, which is grant and donation subcommittee. Do we have people in this room who are not town officials who are interested on being on a grant and donation subcommittee, which would involve thinking about fundraising? So let me set this up a little bit. My thought is that over the next month, we need to think about what are the processes. And it would be nice to have a presentation next month on what is a good fundraising plan, what is a good grant submission plan, not today, but next month. And so I'm looking for people who are interested and who might put that together.
Yeah, I would be happy to work on a plan. I couldn't do certain kinds of going out and soliciting funds because I'm also development chair for the American Independence Museum, and there would be a conflict
Okay.
there. So I'm beating the bushes for money.
But you could help with a plan.
I would.
Okay. Is there anyone else?
Talk with Dave about grants.
Yeah, yeah. Is there anyone else? I think
I'll work with you, Judy.
Okay. A subcommittee of 2 is adequate, in my view. Do you agree?
I agree.
Okay.
Well, later on, when
We'll all help.
when the plan gets fleshed out,
Yeah.
I have no talents with this sort of fundraising, but I will certainly be able to bring a lot to bear on in-kind donations
Yeah, if
and
I
that sort of
might,
thing.
I was thinking it would be helpful to have somebody from the landscaping community on that to get some idea of what sort of volunteer contributions we might be able to hope for.
That's what I'm saying, the design part has to be fleshed out a little more so that I could then start identifying people, and Keith can do the same thing, people I know that would be willing to donate time and all that sort of thing, possibly materials.
Right.
Because between Keith and I, we could cover a lot of bases, I think, with our contacts.
So could it be that Judy will work on a plan, you'll assist, and they can reach out to one of you this month? I don't want to do a subcommittee of 4 because we're getting close to 91A issues then. So just for this month, to get started, and we can review next month.
Talk to me about the time, as I have police and fire presentation to make October 30th, so
This would be November 21st.
Pardon?
November 21st.
Okay.
Yeah,
Very good.
yeah.
I have a question about fundraising that it'd be useful for Judy to know and Ann. Would the donations, the monetary donations, get funneled through the city? I'm thinking about.
Town, to the town.
Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, well, there is a distinction between cities and towns in New
Yeah,
Hampshire.
it's
and
my
it's important.
Oregon
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Even a little village is a city in Oregon. I'm thinking about accountability for people's monetary contributions and their dispersal. Is that a function that the town would provide for us, like our banker?
Well, that would have to be, they would have to accept, the select board would have to accept donations.
Okay, is there a
So-
precedent for this kind of thing?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like for the
Yeah.
people
There's a
don't.
procedure to do it, yeah.
Okay,
But
thank you.
they would, they would have to accept it.
Okay, like bench donations type thing?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
I don't believe we need a motion on this. Judy, Ann, and Dave, go to. Amanda, Ann, and Dev, Godspeed. Jen, thank you very much for all you put in
Yeah.
to this.
Yeah, no
Yes.
problem.
No, it is a problem.
I
It's
would-
your-
I would like to just close the loop on option 3 before we adjourn, if that's okay.
Sure.
There's no motion tonight to
There's no-
proceed in any way with option 3, to go to the select board or anything. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
As of now,
yeah,
unless
as
you
of
wanna
now.
make one.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if I want to make, okay.
But you can.
Okay.
Okay, that's all.
With the business of the committee on the agenda dealt with, this meeting is now adjourned.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What time is it?
Thank you
It's
for tuning
10
in
off.
to Exeter
Wow.
TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast channels 6 and 22. Channel 6 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 8, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report, with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.